Moses and the 10 plagues of Egypt. After many years of living in luxury in Egypt, Moses, the adopted son of the princess, discovered his true origins. He was a Hebrew. Witnessing the oppression of his people, he became enraged and killed an Egyptian soldier. Fearing punishment, Moses fled to Midian, where he lived as a shepherd. One day, while tending sheep on Mount Horeb, he saw a burning bush that was not consumed by the fire. It was a sign from God. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Go to Pharaoh and tell him, 'Let my people go.'" Initially hesitant, Moses was strengthened by God and granted miracles to demonstrate his power. Moses returned to Egypt with his brother Aaron. They confronted Pharaoh and declared, "The Lord, the God of Israel, says, 'Let my people go.'" But Pharaoh, full of pride, refused. Thus God sent 10 devastating plagues upon Egypt. The first plague, water, turns to blood. Moses struck the Nile River with his staff, and immediately the water turned into blood. Fish died, the river reeked, and people suffered from unbearable thirst. Yet Pharaoh remained unmoved. The second plague, frogs overrun the land. Millions of frogs swarmed the palace, houses, and streets. They invaded beds and kitchens, tormenting the Egyptians. Pharaoh begged Moses to ask God to stop the plague, but once it ended, he broke his promise. The third plague, gnats from the dust. Moses lifted his staff, and the dust turned into countless gnats. They covered people and animals, causing unbearable itching. Still, Pharaoh hardened his heart. The fourth plague, swarms of flies darkened the sky, spreading filth and suffering across Egypt. Yet, in Goshen, where the Israelites lived, there was peace. Despite this, Pharaoh refused to release God's people. The fifth plague, livestock disease. A deadly plague struck the Egyptian livestock, killing cattle, donkeys, and sheep. But the livestock of the Israelites remained unharmed. Even so, Pharaoh remained defiant. The sixth plague, boils. Painful boils broke out on the Egyptians, from commoners to officials. Even Pharaoh's magicians were afflicted. Yet, Pharaoh still refused to change. The seventh plague, hailstorm of fire. Thunder roared, and a fierce hailstorm mixed with fire devastated the land, destroying crops and killing people and animals. Pharaoh repented temporarily, but soon hardened his heart again. The eighth plague, locusts. A massive swarm of locusts darkened the sky, devouring what little was left after the hailstorm. The Egyptians cried out in despair, but Pharaoh remained stubborn. The ninth plague, darkness over Egypt. For 3 days, a thick, oppressive darkness covered Egypt. No one could see or move. Yet in Goshen, there was light. Even this did not change Pharaoh's heart. The 10th plague, the death of the firstborn. The final and most terrifying plague came. God warned, every firstborn in Egypt will die, from Pharaoh's son to the lowest servant's child. Still, Pharaoh refused to listen. The Israelites followed God's command, sacrificing a lamb and marking their doorposts with its blood, so that the angel of death would pass over their homes. At midnight, cries of sorrow echoed across Egypt. Every firstborn had died, including Pharaoh's son. Broken and defeated, Pharaoh finally relented. "Leave my land at once." The Israelites quickly departed, escaping after over 400 years of slavery and beginning their journey to the Promised Land. Later, Pharaoh regretted letting them go and pursued them. But God parted the Red Sea for his people to cross safely, while the Egyptian army was swallowed by the waters. The story of Moses and the 10 plagues is a testament to God's power and his mercy toward those who are faithful to Him. It teaches us that pride and stubbornness before God lead to destruction, while obedience and trust in Him bring freedom and blessings. God always keeps His promises. He delivered the Israelites from slavery, and even today, He rescues those who put their faith in Him.